McGregor. Hello. I am here today to talk to you about Two Shapes. We are a startup that came out of the R9 Accelerator, and we are looking at solving this problem of authority to act. How can we digitise authority to act? So, what does that mean? So I'll give you an example. So I have been with my partner Michael, who's over there videoing me, for about 19 years, almost 20 years now. Our lives are intertwined. We have 4 children, they're over there as well. We have a mortgage, we've got a bank account together, we have, and I want him, you know, our lives are intertwined, so I want him to have access to everything. I want him to be able to have access to all the accounts of the house, to be able to do all the payments, to be able to look after the kids, and if anything happens to me, if I'm sick, if anything goes wrong with me medically, I want him to be the person that can look after me and take care of me and make decisions for me. So it is incredibly frustrating for me when that can't be the case. So for example, if I want to ring up and sort out my phone bill, they say, I'm sorry, you're not the account holder on that. And I say, okay, fine. And we lived in the UK for a while, we had a bank account over there. I never managed to organise myself enough to get myself put onto that bank account, so now I can't make any payments in the UK, can't write a check out. It's very frustrating. And as frustrating as it is, it's not the end of the world. All I have to do is nag him to do the things that I want him to do. Like, go sort out the phone bill, you know, it's okay. And that's all right, except what happens if he gets in a car accident and ends up in coma? Suddenly I can't get him to do things for me. He won't be able to give me authority either. And then it becomes a real problem. So I want him to have all this access, and then until maybe I don't. So what if we break up, if we don't make it to the mark? And I don't want to go have anything to do with Michael anymore. He's not very happy about that. He is vengeful and he wants to make my life difficult. Suddenly I don't want him to have access to anything. The opposite applies. So this is this whole problem of knowing who has authority to act on behalf of someone else. It applies in individuals, it's obvious here, but it also applies in business. So when you have a business, who has authority to represent your business? Who can act on behalf of your business? Can't always be the director. Rod Drury's not always going to go down and sort everything out for Xero, for example. Who has the authority to act on behalf of the business? And it's painful for them as well. And the reason it is painful is because this whole area is sort of being left behind. It gets left behind in this digital age. So when organisations, big organisations like banks or government departments are working out their functionality for their systems, this is that kind of edge use case that gets dropped off because they run out of money and they don't get to deliver it. Or they set up a system but it only works for the call centre and it's got nothing to do with the online system. Or their business is siloed and you can get set up with authority to make a payment, but you can't, that doesn't mean that you get authority to make a claim. And so it becomes this big molasses of mess and it's all fragmented and difficult. And where it becomes worse in the business context is where your whole business is based around representing someone else. So if you're an accountant, a lawyer, a bookkeeper, a financial advisor, your whole day-to-day job is getting authority to act on behalf of someone else, and you feel this pain of having to be set up every year. It doesn't sound that complicated, you know, this whole thing of being set up to represent someone else, but it's really complicated, actually. It's really, really complicated. It's as complicated as taking the complications of human relationships and overlaying that with all our concerns about security and privacy. And trying to solve this problem is really tough. It's this massive big thing. So we are on the Accelerator trying to solve this problem. How can we solve it? It's huge. Other people have tried to fail before. We're going to take this lean startup approach, which is to take this lean startup says, find your early adopters. Find the segment of this whole world that feels this pain the most intensely. So we looked for who that was, and it was bookkeepers. Bookkeepers are like accountants, but they're not recognised like accountants. And they have to represent businesses with banks, with IRD, with post office, with ACC, with council, with utility bills, make payments. So we are working with the Bookkeeping Association now to solve the problem for them. Little tiny sliver of this whole problem is for bookkeepers. We are launching our product. Our software comes out at the end of the month. It is going to It's a digital online sign-up form. We capture the authority of the business client when they sign up their bookkeeper right at the beginning. It's going to allow them to electronically sign the agreement. It's going to automatically set up authority for them with ACC, IR, Companies Office. It integrates into Xero, and we are also going to record the agreement on the blockchain and solve AML for them at the same time. So this is what we're doing. So it's just a little slither, but the idea is, well, if we solve this little slither, we can come out another bit and solve the next area. We can go to accountants, then we can go to lawyers, and then we can go to our businesses, and then maybe we could solve it for individuals as well. Maybe we could solve the problem for me and Mike as well. Maybe we could do that. So we start with a little bit and we end up with a big thing. And the reason that I really passionately care about this is because I think what makes New Zealand wonderful, what makes us really cool is we come together, we help each other out, we support each other, we have our networks and our communities. And if we can make that easy to be done online, if we can make it easy for us to help each other out and support each other, I just think that's going to be an amazing thing to do. Cool. So that's me, that's Two Shakes. Feel free to follow us on Twitter, and thanks a lot.